or top 3, top May shop owner. Many restaurateurs actually were visionary entrepreneurs, men with vision, men who cultivated taste because there's a metropolitan environment in town. For example, the Qin Fengbo, Qin F. Foyne, right? And he was a flamboyant young man. He came here at the age of 15, so he learned English, not only English, but also German. He could speak German fluently. He rode horseback. He joined the club. He bought an automobile when it was available for consumers. He didn't run his restaurant. Actually, he hired an Irish woman as manager. So he enjoyed all his lifestyle, upper class, the elite society had at the time. So the Chinese business, restaurant here, they were extravagant. Some of them can, even today's restaurant, can't match the degree of extravagance. They are also sizable. For example, the Golden Pheasant Inn in 1900s had 30 shareholders, had 175 tables. It hired 75 employees. So they have to hire somebody as a kitchen checker. Okay. This person's job title is a checker, dish checker in the kitchen. So when the dish is carried out, he will make sure it matches the order, right? Because it's such a large place, and if you make a mistake, in this confusion. So that just indicates, the volume of the business there. And also the Chinese were able to utilize their capital to promote their business. Their first successful promotion was in the fair, World Fair, in 1893, the World Fair. There are two Chinese, Chinese pitched two, your ancestor pitched one company, and the other three gentlemen organized this Wame company, and their company won, and they were given permit. So they are the ones to run the Chinese exhibition, because the Chinese government boycotted it. So the Chinese merchants here, they want to show the Chinese splendidness of the Chinese culture and, of course, promote their business. So they set up a China Cafe. China Cafe could seat 2,000 people at once. So they shipped a lot of chopsticks. It's not today's, this disposable chopstick. You break into two, then you throw it away. They had these chopsticks, real elegant chopsticks from Hong Kong. But they were also considerate. They were afraid their customers won't be able to use chopsticks. They also had knife and forks at the same time. Okay? So they had all these dishes. They had the cook hired from Hong Kong. So that was the first time Chinese food was advertised in a large scale, okay, to the worldwide audience. Yeah. So some people said chop suey was introduced at this fair. That's one of the rumors. Yeah. I think I will cut it short. This is okay. There are three names here, right? Gi Wong-Chet was daughter. Hong Sling was another famous Chinese entrepreneur, and his pictures here. He and his wife and 3 children. The man on the back was unknown, but those are his three children. The laundry, okay, the Chinese laundry in Chicago also was very unique. Okay, not only offered livelihood for the laundrymen and their family, but also it was it provided a mechanism for the Chinese laborers to return, to come back. Because as you know, the Chinese immigration law prohibited the Chinese from coming, right? Banned the Chinese laborers. But why those Chinese could come back? Those are the people already admitted before the law was passed. But if they want to visit their family in China, make sure they could come back. So they have to secure their re-entry before their departure for China. So they would go to the immigration office to apply for this return certificate. The requirement is that you have to prove that you have either $1,000 property. Okay, you own the property worth $1,000, or you have $1,000 debts somebody owing. Okay, so that is why a lot of Chinese run the laundry. Now, if you run well from here, within the 5 years, a laundry man can save up $1,000. Or Chinese can borrow money, or they can lend their money to someone, so they claim, they have debts here, even they don't have laundries. Oftentimes people sold their laundry, but they didn't get paid because the new owner couldn't pay off, but instead owe them this value of the laundry. Okay. So they would provide, certificate. So I have a laundry here, so and so owe me $1,000. So because of that, they could apply for the return certificate. So the laundry was significant in that sense. And of course, this laundry work provided a rich field for policy. I'm going to go this very fast. Okay, the marriage pattern. I'm going to focus on this first one. I came up with this term. Okay, it's transnational split marriage. Of course, this term split is nothing new. People have used this term, split household, split wage earner, okay, in the different scholarly work describing different aspects of immigrant life. But here, I want to use it to characterize this peculiar marital arrangement in Chinese, which probably is more typical. I think it was common, but from the case study here, it looks like it was more prominent in Chicago. 3 Moy brothers all had their concubines. We all had multiple wives. Yeah. If you look at the Moy family trees, number 1 brother had 2 wives. Number 2 had 3 wives. Number 3 brother also had 2 wives. So altogether, they had 7 wives. And from those wives, they had children. Okay. Mei Dongzhou had 9 children. The second brother, Mei Dong Hoi, had 12 children. Third brother, Mei Dong He, also had 12 children. Then their grandchildren, and right now their direct descendants is 300. So from 3 men, you multiply to 300. So how could they manage to do that? Because it's a special marriage arrangement. Some are forced, and some are voluntary, okay? Arranged by their parents or their wife. Okay? The polygamy in China was legal before 1949. So the many rich Chinese men had multiple wives. So wife or concubines in China was a way to indicate a man's reach and power. Okay? It becomes a symbol of social status. So a lot of old men in their 70s, 80s had multiple wives, 18-year-old. So they might not have ability to do it, but they want to use it as a way. It's like you have a BMW, you have Lamborghini, right? So you have a Chinese wife, a bunch of Chinese wives there to indicate their social economic status. But this arrangement here is different. It's more practical. Okay? Because these Chinese men overseas, they are lonely. Their money, you send this $1,000 home, but you don't know how they accumulated this $1,000. They had such a hard life. They were so lonely. So their parents want them to have some company, but the parents don't want their wife to come here, because according to Chinese tradition, woman not supposed to go outside. Okay, the first wife, the legal wife, are expected to stay at home to take care of in-laws. So she couldn't come. But who is going to take care of him? So they take a concubine. So usually concubines come from the servant ladies, maids. or purchased from impoverished families. So for those young girls, they didn't like to be concubine, but it seems it's a better alternative. If you don't marry as somebody's concubine, you might die of hunger or starvation. So many women were forced or voluntarily became concubine. So they accompanied their husband. But there was also reverse of the cases. Some first wife came, the concubine stayed in hometown, take care of in-laws. So those wives in the hometown, they are regarded as widows. That's why I have a quotation mark. Even their husband is still alive, but they live the life like widows. They're virtually widows. Many of them never, besides marriage, right? Or the initial couple of years, the husband returned, but then they never saw their husband until their death. So there's the local folk song said, 当年阿公出远洋，家里阿婆哭断肠. Okay, the English translation is that when a man going to overseas, his wife is crying to death. And that is portrayed, for example, Eat a Cup of Tea. Marty must know it, right? Louis Jule's novel and also made into the movie. It portrays that phenomenon. This heroine, this protagonist's mother was such a widow. She stayed there. She complains. My husband once in a while send money, or once in a while send this cook. Okay, all these gadgets. But she had a collection of those gadgets. But what she wanted was her husband. But this man couldn't return. Either because of restriction of immigration law. If you return, you might never come back to the U.S. Or because of lack of money. It's expensive to make the trip. So for all kinds of reasons, this arrangement helped the Chinese to survive, to produce and reproduce. So the production and reproduction is completed by this unique arrangement. It doesn't sound, a lot of academics avoid to discuss this issue. In 1990, I presented the paper at the Association of Asian American Studies on the Chinese marriage, polygamy, concubinage. Then afterward, some prominent scholar came to congratulate me. Praised my courage. Said, you are very courageous, we don't want to mention this question. Even people know that, many immigrants had multiple wives. Right? Some people, when I interviewed, said, okay, my father had 3 wives. I'm son of second wife. People don't hide that. It was a reality. It was reality. It was a reality created by the immigration situation. They didn't want to live that kind of way, But because it's illegal, so the people could not publicly admit that they had a concubine. So they all claim, we don't have a wife, or my wife died while the woman still alive. And they brought their concubine here as their legal wife. I'm sure that's in the case of the 3 Moy brothers. So this is the 3rd Moy brothers. And their daughter of the 3rd Moy brother, Lorraine, I think is she still alive?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, she's in her 90s.
Chinatown, right?
Right, yeah, her
80s.
80s, yeah. So that was a wonderful interview. I used that in the book. And then, bridging the 2 worlds, here I featured all these community organizations. I categorized them into the different categories. Okay? One type is the one transplanted the Chinese social structure. Okay? It's just like transplantation of the old Chinese social structure. Like Anliang, like CCBA, or Zhonghua Huiguan, or like the family associations. Gongsuo, for example, Meishi Gongsuo, right? Moy's Family Association. But the second type, and many of them was the hybridization and adaptation of American culture. Okay? For example, 洪门吃公堂